This is RTV6 News at 6, working for you.
Good evening and thanks for joining us here at 6 o'clock. I'm Nicole Griffin. Let's get right to the very latest on the coronavirus and its impact on Indiana. The State Department of Health says 30 more people have died from COVID-19 and more than 7,400 people have tested positive. A total of 330 people have died so far from the coronavirus and 537 more people have been diagnosed since Friday. More than 39,000 people have been tested in Indiana. COVID-19 restrictions can be especially tough on families with loved ones who are already sick. RTV6's Troy Washington is working for you to show how neighbors are working together to uplift a family impacted by the pandemic.
Over the last few months, Nicole Lauer has had her share of unsettling news.
We found out she had to have a double mastectomy, so she had it December 23rd. And we didn't get out of the hospital until Christmas Day.
First, the holidays, overshadowed by her mother being diagnosed with cancer in November. Then
they had to amputate. So we had to rushed them to 86th Street because I know that they have really good care and good doctors and specialists there. They amputated. Then he was diagnosed with, right before that, stage 3 cirrhosis of the liver.
Then her father losing his legs. On top of it all, COVID-19 isn't making coping any easier because of social distancing. The family couldn't go inside to visit her dad during rehabilitation, but they still showed up to his window to sing and raise his spirits.
Through this all, we've been strong.
Even as the coronavirus forces space between this family, they say nothing can break their bond.
I had my neighbors built a ramp the day they found out my dad was having his first amputation.
The Harden family didn't ask if the family needed anything. Instead, they got to work, helping the family make their new normal a smooth transition.
I say thank you, and they just say, we're just being the church. We can't go to church, so we have to be the church.
The family is still trying to adjust, but now they know they aren't alone if they need a hand. Working for you, Troy Washington, RTV6.
Troy, thank you. In addition to helping them out by building a ramp, they also helped out with some yard work. Starting on Monday, the city of Kokomo is taking steps to stop the spread of COVID-19. In a tweet sent today, the city is notifying all riders who use the trolley line in the spirit of Kokomo that they must have a face covering. Face coverings will not be provided. The state health department reports Howard County has had 46 people test positive for the virus and 4 people have died. IU Health is now asking for COVID-19 survivors to donate blood plasma in effort to help critically ill patients who are currently battling the disease. A spokesman with IU Health says their blood may contain antibodies that are able to fight and control the virus. These antibodies can be collected from patients who have recovered and then be transfused to patients who are struggling. IU Health says the FDA has approved this as an investigational new drug, and it could prove to be successful. Donors actually must be able to prove that they have had COVID-19 with a positive documented lab test, and they must be symptom-free for 28 days. You can complete an online screening, and then IU will contact you and will send you to a blood center. We have all the details you need to know right now on the RTV6 News app. With grocery stores trying to keep up with the demand and many Hoosiers out of work during the pandemic, local food drives are being held to help out families who may be having a tough time. Today, Lakeview Church on Beachway Drive on the west side held a food drive. Everyone stayed in their cars and opened up their trunks and received a bag full of food. They passed out potatoes, bread, and fresh produce. We talked to the pastor about what brings his congregation together to help the community.
There's not a single church that could feed everybody, but as we band together and work with agencies here in our city, hopefully we'll make a small dent in this need, but it's overwhelming.
Lakeview Church will be hosting virtual Easter services tomorrow at 9 and 11 as the stay-at-home order continues. Indianapolis native Kenneth Babyface Edmonds says he is recovering after testing positive for COVID-19. In a post on social media, Babyface, who turned 62 Friday, thanked everyone for their birthday wishes. He says he feels blessed to celebrate another birthday as he recovers from the coronavirus. He says it's an incredibly scary thing to go through, but he is happy to report he and his family have now tested negative and are now on their way back to full health. RTV6 is committed to showing how communities are working together during the pandemic. Stories as simple as just bringing joy to others. This weekend, communities across central Indiana are getting creative when it comes to celebrating Easter. In Greenwood, 2 local DJs who are normally busy with weddings and events during this time of year decided to drive through local neighborhoods. Mike Campbell and Tim Wood put on a mobile show playing children's songs. The Easter Bunny was also along for the ride.
The Easter Bunny was awesome. It was a great surprise. This is the first time since the lockdown that we've been able to be this close to our family.
I think it was awesome. I thought it was pretty nice. It was pretty nice to come outside and get to see my family and then hear Michael Jackson coming down the street.
Happy Easter.
What a cutie. Well, families in the neighborhoods where they passed through also had out their own Easter decorations in order to celebrate. Families in LaPel also got a visit from the Easter Bunny today as they are staying home due to the virus. The Easter Bunny wanted to let the kids know they were not forgotten. Families shared videos and pictures using the hashtag #BunnyOnTheTruck. In an effort to keep practicing social distancing, the truck did not stop and the Easter Bunny did not pass out any candy. Now to your Storm Team 6 forecast. Meteorologist Kyle Mount standing by. Kyle, all that video, it's nice and sunny in those shots.
Yeah, we really warmed things up today. A nice change of pace from where we ended the week. Temperatures back into the 60s this afternoon. 62 Indianapolis, Kokomo, Muncie, and Bloomington. 60 in Martinsville, and that puts numbers about 10 to 15 degrees warmer than this time yesterday. We've been in and out of those clouds, and you can see more clouds going to be streaming in. We've also got a complex of some showers moving pretty quickly here across central portions of Illinois. So I think over the next couple of hours, we will see some more scattered showers moving through central Indiana. The best chance of some of that rain, though, overnight tonight will be over the northern third of the state. Busy period coming up. We'll talk about severe storm potential in the forecast, as well as a high wind watch and a chilly week ahead.
Kyle, thank you. Still ahead on the news at 6, how a fellow officer is honoring the life and legacy of IMPD officer Brianne Leith, who was killed in the line of duty. And we'll also have the very latest on the national coronavirus outlook, some bad news and some good news as well. That's straight ahead on the news at 6.
RTV6 hiring Hoosiers partner.
This is RTV6 News at 6, working for you.
Tonight, the city of Indianapolis continues to mourn the loss of IMPD officer Brianne Leith, who was killed in the line of duty on Thursday. On that night, the city was lit up in blue to honor healthcare workers and first responders on the front lines of the COVID-19 pandemic. The display also took on a new meaning following the loss of Officer Leith. IMPD officer Ron Shelnut produced this powerful video with footage captured that night on Monument Circle.
Tonight, we mourn the loss of a true hero whose name will forever remind us of the honor, the courage, and the strength of our police officers. Light a candle, say a prayer, hug your family, and in that moment, remember how lucky we are to have brave men and brave women like Officer Leith in our city tonight and every night.
Officer Leith is remembered as a true public servant, described by fellow officers as dedicated and compassionate, a hero who was an example of what an IMPD officer should be. Community members wishing to donate in her honor can contribute to the Brianne Leith Memorial Fund by the Central Indiana Police Foundation. Light It Blue on Monument Circle will continue each night until Officer Leith is laid to rest. Developing tonight, at least 6 people were injured in a crash this afternoon on the southwest side of Indianapolis. Wayne Township Fire Department crews and emergency personnel were called to the 2700 block of South Holt Road, just north of Kentucky Avenue. We are still gathering information on exactly what happened, but we do know at least 1 person suffered critical injuries. The U.S. reached a grim milestone today. Johns Hopkins University says more than 20,000 people have died from coronavirus, surpassing Italy's reported total of 19,468 deaths. New York's governor says his state may be flattening the curve after weeks of social distancing and stay-at-home orders. But other states are preparing for a possible surge in cases. Here's ABC's Andrew Dimberg with the very latest.
More than 500,000 cases of coronavirus now confirmed in the U.S., and that number still growing. With more than 8,600 deaths in New York City alone, the pandemic taking its toll on first responders.
It's weighing on me.
But New York State may be seeing the curve begin to flatten after weeks of social distancing and stay-at-home orders.
The number of hospitalizations appears to have hit an apex, and the apex appears to be a plateau.
But New York Governor Andrew Cuomo with this warning.
The worst thing that can happen is we make a misstep and we let our emotions get ahead of our logic and fact, and we go through this again in any manner, shape, or form.
President Trump now looking to create a task force focused on reopening the country.
It's the biggest decision I'll ever make.
But according to a New York Times report, new federal projections warn of a spike in coronavirus infections if shelter-in-place orders were lifted after only 30 days. A second wave likely spiking mid-summer.
I would hope that by November we would have things under such control that we could have a real degree of normality.
Experts say the key to reopening will be testing. Tests like these drive-through sites in California, checking people for COVID-19 antibodies with a simple finger prick. But so many cities still preparing for a surge in patients. Boston's First Field Hospital now open.
We are about to have a very difficult couple of weeks here in Massachusetts.
Detroit also opening a new field hospital, anticipating the need for more beds. COVID-19 has taken a financial toll on millions of Americans who are now out of work, but relief is on the way. According to the U.S. Treasury, the first stimulus checks should be direct deposited this week. Meanwhile, some relief for Boeing employees. The company announcing that it's going to be restarting operations in a limited capacity in Washington state. The company dealing with mostly defense contracts and the Department of Defense. Those operations have been deemed a matter of national security and critical. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, Washington.
Temperatures back to where they should be here in early April, but it is going to be a brief spring back with those temperatures as we are sitting in the 60s, 62 in Indianapolis, 62 in Bloomington. There are some of those showers across portions of Illinois. You can see they'll be getting to around Terre Haute and Sullivan areas here about an hour from now, a little after 7 o'clock in the evening. Those temperatures staying fairly comfortable. We're still in the 50s right on through 10 o'clock. Mostly cloudy skies out there, and again, a couple of showers. And tomorrow morning, not going to be as chilly. We are going to start off with those numbers close to 50 degrees, even right around 50 in Lafayette, 49 in Greenwood, and Columbus coming in at 48 degrees. So here's a look at TrueCast tomorrow morning. For your Easter Sunday, we will have some scattered showers out there. I still think we're going to have several dry hours in the forecast as well. You can see a few more of those showers moving in here as we get into our Sunday evening. So off and on rain chances with those mostly cloudy skies. Temperatures, though, staying mild here as we'll make it through the 50s and into the lower 60s, I think, for that afternoon high. A little breezy. The south wind at 10 to 20 miles per hour Sunday afternoon will get us to 61 in Bloomington, 60 in Muncie. Everyone's going to be within a degree or two of each other here. We do have a marginal risk across much of central Indiana and even a slight risk as we look around Bloomington toward North Vernon and areas to the south. That's where we could see a couple of those stronger to possibly severe storms. I think the most likely time frame for this is going to be overnight hours of Sunday into Monday morning. So here's a look at TrueCast midnight tomorrow night. You can see just a few of those showers that are going to be out there. We can see then some rain starting to fill back in during the overnight, and by 5 a.m. Monday morning, that's where we start to see some of those stronger storms moving in around Seymour toward the Columbus area. Primary threat's going to be some gusty winds, possibly some hail, and just that isolated tornado threat. But there you can see as we go through the Monday morning hours, the primary threat for those storms going to be over the eastern portion of the state. But even behind the storms, we're going to have some gusty winds here. We've got a high wind watch already in effect for Monday. Lafayette, Indianapolis to just northeast of Seymour, where we could see those winds gusting 50 to 60 miles per hour. 7-day planning forecast, it gets chilly behind that system. We're talking about highs that are only going to be in the 40s here for much of the week ahead, and some of those overnight lows like Wednesday and Thursday morning going to be below the freezing mark, so some frost and freeze advisories likely coming our way.
Kyle, thank you. It is one of those services many of us take for granted, but imagine what it would be like if there's no one to pick up the trash, especially with so many people at home these next days. Up next in Hiring Hoosiers, why this essential job just might be the right choice for you.
My life. Call Clear Choice today.
RTV6 is proud to be working together with the United Way of Central Indiana. We're teaming up for the COVID-19 Community Economic Relief Fund. The initiative supports organizations that serve people and families affected by the pandemic. You can donate to the fund by texting HELP 2020 to 91999. Unemployment numbers are soaring right now, but this evening's Hiring Hoosiers is shining a light on the trash collection industry. Troy Washington is working for you to show appreciation for those who are still rolling up their sleeves to make sure trash is collected during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Basically, basic sanitation is one of the things that keeps our city going.
In fact, there's an opening for a solid waste truck driver online right now in Marion County.
I think obviously our frontline workers, our life scientists and our healthcare workers deserve so much appreciation, and we want a little bit of love for our solid waste workers as well. These are the guys that are just doing their job day in and day out and keeping it as business as usual as possible for the rest of us.
Ben Easley is the spokesperson for the Department of Public Works. He tells RTV6 right now, with everything else going on in the country because of COVID-19, it makes a huge difference being able to maintain some normalcy. And that's what workers are giving people when they show up.
We're so proud of them and so supportive of them as they continue to go to work every single day. Solid waste providers are often the first people awake and up and reporting to their routes in the mornings. They are there early and they're working fast and working hard to get their routes done as soon as possible. Obviously, people are staying at home and producing more waste.
In search of a better understanding of what it's like working routes and picking up trash during the pandemic, I reached out to my father.
I've been trash picking about 39 years.
He was working, but took a break to tell us how it's going.
It hadn't stopped trash pickup or nothing. I mean, it's just never seen nothing like this, how people can't be around each other.
He agrees with Easley. Since people have more time on their hands, there's more to pick up. It's a first for him. Over the decades, he says the closest he's experienced to this would be working after a natural disaster. Regardless, the one thing that stands out, he says, is how happy people are to see them coming.
Waving and saying they appreciate us and all that. I mean, they like they're glad to see us.
Working for you, Troy Washington, RTV6.
Troy, thank you. You can find details on the openings for drivers right now on this story on the RTV6 app. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
.org/regions.
A downtown Indy pastry shop that specializes in colorful sweet treats is still serving customers. RTV6's Brad Brown shows you, like many other local businesses, this shop is always finding ways to give back to those serving on the front lines.
In baking circles, these tiny bits are a tough cookie to master. But the crew at Indy's Macaron Bar on Mass Ave have pretty much perfected the process.
It's a great opportunity to serve customers who are still looking for something to enjoy in this time. And it also is helping us keep as much of our staff employed as possible, which is really important to us, that we keep a paycheck in the hands of our staff that we can.
2 pillowy soft wafers with just the right amount of sweetness sandwiched in the middle. Nathan Sivitz and his bakery wizards continue to put together hundreds every day.
We were looking for ways we could contribute and keep operating, keep our bakers busy, and this was a great way, I think, to do that.
They're sharing these sweet treats with medical personnel all over the region. You can donate a dozen or several dozen macarons to workers who deserve a little something extra.
Pretty much everybody we know probably has somebody in their lives, a family member, somebody they know that is in healthcare, working either on the front lines or at a doctor's office or wherever. And we knew that it was one small way we could help those folks.
Macaron Bar has their menu available for takeout and delivery, and demand continues to be high.
Since we've opened it up to allow our customers to also contribute to that effort, there's been a great response there too, and people are really looking for ways they can give back while they're at home, maybe not able to help out directly.
Macaron Bar has already donated more than 4,000 cookies to local medical staffs. They also have locations in Louisville, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Columbus. By the way, May 23rd is known as Macaron Day. Hopefully by then we can all get together to enjoy a treat. Working for you, Brad Brown, RTV6.
And your Easter Sunday forecast going to be mild with highs in the low 60s, but also occasionally wet there with some scattered showers and storms. Much cooler as we get toward the middle and end of the week, Nicole.
Kyle, thank you. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you tonight at 11. Have a great night.